No, my hooky, my. That was Earth Tongue with Grave Pressure off their album Great Haunting. Morena, namaste, radioactive crew. This is your host, Sunaina, and we have a spooky Halloween special this morning. Some stories are going to be read out on air, and we have a very special guest reading out these stories, the voice of Ted Mills. Ted is a captivating storyteller, filmmaker, artist, and DJ, among many other things. Currently pursuing a PhD in film and video art at Massey University, Wellington here in Aotearoa. Now, if you came along to Radioactive Hannah Playhouse event, you know just how captivating and creative Ted's storytelling is. So without further ado, this morning we're going to listen to some stories that have been collected by Ted Mills, and it's going to be a spooky, spooky morning season. We're going to listen to the stories, and then Ted and I will have a kōrero about how they make us feel. Maybe they've got some spidery aspects in them. So we're going to run it away with the first story this morning from Ted Mills.
This one, kia ora, everybody. This one comes in from Amanda. I've always had weird experiences, but this one scared the fudge out of me. I was coming home from dropping my daughter off at school. Keep in mind, my daughter and I live alone and don't have any pets. I just come in and shut the front door. As soon as I got into the lounge and started walking to my room, there was scattering feet behind me on the carpet, and I ran to my bed because I felt like I was being chased. I checked the entire house, only a small one-bedroom flat. There were no windows left open and no animals in the house to get in or out.
The first story this morning, and that was called Amanda.
Well, I think that's who it's from.
Oh,
Amanda.
who it's from.
Yeah, Amanda.
Where did you find this story, Ted?
This was sent to me through your
Emma.
producer.
Through
Yes.
Emma this morning.
Yes, Emma put this together.
It's quite a creepy story to have a house with no windows open. I love having windows open every single day, and I find it quite stressful here in the booth this morning. We don't have any windows that we can open in the booth, so it feels quite claustrophobic.
Yes.
And I felt that in that story.
That's right. Well, sometimes when I'm doing the late night, when I'm filling in for TV Disco, I wonder, like, because I know someone's going to come down the hall at some point to do housing project, and could it be spooky sometimes? Yes.
Yes, it can.
Has a DJ made me jump by disappearing at the door? Yes.
Of course, of course. Now let's go into the second story this morning.
This next one comes from Terry. So, when I was living in Makara, I had many paranormal experiences as our house was haunted. But the one that stands out the most involves me and my daughter, who is now 4 but was 6 months old at the time, the only 2 living people in the home. One morning we woke up. I was in my bed and she was in her cot. Keep in mind, she could not walk or crawl at this point and was in a cot that she obviously couldn't get out of. When we woke up, I went to go make her a bottle in the kitchen, leaving her in the cot. When I walked into the kitchen, our bedroom door slammed shut and locked. The only way to lock the door is from the inside. No windows were open. There is no draft. I had to shimmy the lock open with a butter knife. She was fine. I continued making her bottle, and from that day on, we used a doorstop. Lol, LOL. We named the spirit at that house Nana. My partner moved in about 4 months later and mentioned that he felt like he was constantly being watched and would see white apparitions, which is exactly what I would see. Sometimes you could see her running on the floors. So much so that one time I thought my partner was running quietly to come give me a playful fright, so I hid behind the pantry door, only to realize he was in the shower, and that it wasn't him. The shower and taps would turn on by themselves too. One time I had a new friend over who hadn't been to the house before and didn't know about anything we'd seen or been through. She pointed out one room that made her uncomfortable. We didn't like that room either, because it felt like you were being watched from the wardrobe. It was creepy, but I got used to it. Lol, LOL.
Spooky.
Playing it off with a lull, though.
Yeah.
It's a lull house. Good on you, Terry.
I feel that spirits and, spookiness, especially in paranormal activity films, is such a big thing. And when you live in an old house and you hear creaking, I don't like staying in my flat by myself because I'm so worried that someone's going to come in and spook me down the hallway. So that story, it almost could have been written by me, maybe.
That's right. Are you sure you're not Terry? And you're just
Maybe.
I mean, I do have in my place, there's a lot of knocks and stuff on the wall, which I always want to say is pipes. But, sometimes you're sitting there and you hear 3 rapid knocks. When I first moved into that place, that put me off. But I've gotten used to it too, so lol.
Yeah, you've gotten used to it. You've become friends maybe with the spirit.
Maybe so.
Maybe so. We'll go on to the next story here on Radioactive. If you are just tuning in, it is 20 minutes past 9. I have Ted Mills joining us here in studio, and we are going through some spooky stories this morning. Some of them have been curated here by our producer Emma, who has gotten a series of stories. Some of them have been from Vic Deals. We've also had some stories from Reddit, and some of them from the active crew. So that's what we're talking through this morning. Here's the next story from Ted.
Now, this one's a bit more of a historical, and some of you will know this, I am sure. This is a story about the Inverloch Art School here in Wellington, where the ghostly stories are far from a joke. The school, which is tucked away among apartment buildings in Aro Valley, is well known for its abnormal activities. However, it does not have the spine-chilling feeling of other haunted buildings. The house was built for Wellington politician Thomas MacDonald in 1878, but was later converted into 2 luxury flats. In the 1920s, there was a fire in the back of the house, which is said to have claimed the life of a Maori maid. And since then, there have been numerous sightings of a Maori woman in the back half of the house, where the servants' quarters were likely to have been. The manager of Inverloch Art School, Mark Marriott, said he was a bit of a skeptic, but did not disregard the sightings. Mr. Marriott, a photographer and a member of the ghost hunting group Strange Occurrences, said some people seemed to be more sensitive than others. "Maybe I'm completely and utterly insensitive to ghosts," he said. His group had been through the house to conduct electromagnetic field tests several times. Numerous people took part in the testing and picked areas in the house where unusual things had happened, but the findings were very tenuous, Mr. Marriott said. The Maori maid had shown herself to artists at Inverloch and even meddled with printing equipment when no one was around. The house had been blessed more than once since the 1980s when some peculiar activity took place. During the 1980s, businessman Arthur Williams threatened to knock down Inverloch to make way for the expansion of his Mercure Hotel. In protest, some art students staged a sit-in. One night, they were going to leave the building when a mirror flew across the room, smashed against the door, and then the pieces slowly slid to the floor. The artist took that as a sign not to leave the house, Mr. Marriott said. "I'd take that as a sign to run like hell," he also said. The leader of Strange Occurrences, James Gilbert, said it was important to understand what a skeptic was when it came to ghost hunting. "A skeptic will look at evidence before they proclaim it to be true," he said. He described his group as open-minded and neutral, but was dubious when it came to supernatural reality television. "They are edited entertainment programs," he said. "It was hard to create something entertaining when nothing happened for hours," he said. "It's like fishing. Some days you don't get a bite. You're blimmin' lucky if you get something."
I've never heard of that story before. Have you, Ted, before you read it?
No, but I went and looked it up, and that is one of the most haunted places
in Wellington. If any listeners out there have been in this building or were at art school at the time, maybe give us a call after today's session. Ted and I would be really interested to hear your stories. Call in at 04801 9089. Now we're going to get to the next story this morning that Ted Mills is going to read out for us.
Okay. This is a story about the Mount Cook Police Barracks. Rumors about the souls of executed prisoners lingering in the Mount Cook Police Barracks may just be that, rumors. Many people believe hardened criminals were detained and even executed in these barracks. However, the dark side of prison life took place up the hill at the prison where Massey University is now. The barracks were built in 1894 on the corner of Buckle Street and Tasman Street, where they still stand. Building owner Milvia Hanna said she believed people linked the executions and hauntings with the barracks because the prison was demolished long ago. Mrs. Hanna and her husband Bernie have owned the building for 11 years. Even though Mrs. Hanna is certain there aren't any ghouls roaming the old building, her husband isn't so sure. They originally used the building for their kitchen design business, but it is now leased as office space. One company that had an office in the barracks was Hell Pizza. It was in this office that Mr. Hanna had a strange experience. Late one night, he was carrying out maintenance on the building when he went into the Hell Pizza office and fell to chill. This place felt like a freezer. I got a strange sensation, Mr. Hanna said. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Despite Mr. Hanna's chilling experience, his wife was adamant the converted building is ghost-free. I was in there very late some nights, she said. I never felt spooked or threatened. Unlike other haunted buildings, the barracks does not have a history of strange occurrences or sightings. But after seeing the old cells in the courtyard behind the building, it is easy to understand how people could let their imaginations run away on them. The cells, which were refashioned and added to early last century, were set into a concrete background with only a peephole for food and communication with the outside world. The cells held prisoners until the judge, who sat in an office at the front of the barracks, passed judgment on those arrested. From there, prisoners were transferred to the prison on the hill, or released on bail. The idea of being held in the cold cells overnight was spooky, but it sounds as though this was about as spooky as it got in the barracks. Psychic medium Sue Nicholson from TV2's Sensing Murder said people made up ghost tales sometimes. It starts as a tale and carries on for generations. She said she didn't sense any presence at the police barracks, but there were haunted buildings around Wellington. New Zealand was a newer country and didn't have as many ghosts as a country like England, she said. But there were still instances in the city of confused and possessive ghosts who believed they were still alive.
Very interesting addition at the end there, Tej. When you read that story for the first time, how did it make you feel?
It reminded me of As I Am at Massey. When I first came here, I was in Building 10, right, which is the old building, right, and it's kind of a spooky place. And I remember talking to one of the maintenance guys, and I said, just kind of joking, I said, do you think there's some ghosts here? He's like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I see them all the time, he said. So, yeah, they're there. They're there. And, you know, I was looking at some of the things said here. They're trying to throw you off, some of these quotes. They're trying to tell you it's not true. It's not real. Come on now.
Come on now.
Come on now. Also, you know, hey, we don't have as many ghosts as England. Let's get those numbers up.
Call out to all the ghosts out there. Now, we've got some more stories this morning. This next one, is this one that you've chosen?
This is one, because I went looking to see, could we find more, haunted stories? And there is a Reddit thread, and I want to give credit to whoever is called Mulberry Icicle on Reddit, and this is their post on that question. So whoever you are, Mulberry Icicle, thank you. And you will understand why I chose this one, because it is the place that you don't think would be haunted. And I will read from her now. Dreamgirls. Yes, the strip club. It's one of the oldest wooden buildings in Wellington, and I was told it used to be a church, although it is obviously now deconsecrated. Bear in mind I am a non-believer, but here is a record of the spooky experiences I was aware of while working the bar there. Most dancers refused to use one of the toilets in the girls' bathroom. It had a padlocked, painted-over door to nowhere. It was generally just creepy as hell. One night, a friend really needed to go, and it was the only choice. She said after that while she was in there, she heard someone at the mirror fussing about, but hadn't heard the door to the club opener close, which is obvious because it blasts music, and assumed it was the person from the other toilet, though she hadn't heard that door open either. After a while, all noise stopped, then a gnarled, gray hand reached under the toilet stall door, and she heard a raspy voice say, "There are too many husbands here." Freaked, she boosted from the stall to find there was no one there. The other toilet stall door was still closed and locked. In the back of the building, I was told there was a trapdoor that led to a creepy basement that was full of crucifixes. And I was aware of at least 3 suicides that had occurred upstairs in the attached brothel, one being the twin sister of a woman I worked bar with. And last one night I was pouring a line of shots for a guy. He placed his hand 30 centimeters or so away from one of the full shot glasses, and it slid smoothly by itself into his hand, and he shot it back. While he didn't seem to notice, a co-worker sitting at the bar saw, and we locked eyes, shocked.
A story from the co-worker and workers at Dreamgirls. What an interesting Reddit find that you had, Ted Mills.
Dreamgirls, we need some answers.
We need some answers.
Yes.
Now, we are going to end off our kōrero this morning with a final story that you have brought to life, because there's a few events coming up for radioactive listeners. If you are just listening in this morning to Parakuihi with Sunaina, it is at 9:30, and I'm joined by Ted Mills, the captivating voice of Ted Mills. And Ted has some events coming up at the end of November, so we're going to share them with you all now. So what's happening on Wednesday, the 26th of November, Ted?
Wednesday 26th is the last of the year of a series called Say the Thing, put on by Simon Sweetman. It is at Underworld Tavern. It's like usually 7:30. It's usually a Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month. It is an open mic night. Everyone is encouraged to come and read. There's poets, there's writers, there's entertainers, and that is a place where I often will try out new material. So and I will read what I read the other night. Then a few days later, on Saturday, at Petone Depot in Petone, I will be putting on a brand new show of Tales from Nowhereland, brand new tales, including this one. And I don't have a time for that, but it will be in the evening. So please come along to that.
Mm-hmm. And that's happening on the 29th of November. That's a Saturday, to hear some new
Yes.
tales from Ted. And we will, of course, let you know on breakfast closer to the date what time to be there and where people can grab themselves some tickets as well.
Indeed.
So we're going to hear part 1 of a story. So if you want to hear part 2, then definitely head to Open Mic Night on the 26th of November. That's a Wednesday, and it's at Underworld Tavern to hear part 2 of Ted's story.